2 preseason games down, 2 to go for the Dallas Cowboys. Welcome into another special edition from the Globe Life studio at the Star in Frisco. I'm Danny Sarek. The Cowboys fell 19-16 to the Arizona Cardinals Friday night. Dallas moved the chains well, however, struggled to find the end zone until the fourth quarter, that is, when backup quarterback Ben DiNucci found wide receiver Brandon Smith for the touchdown, the first touchdown of the preseason for the Cowboys. Dallas was unfortunately unable to walk away from the game completely healthy. The biggest concern, defensive tackle Neville Gallimore, who injured his left elbow. There is no timetable yet for Gallimore's return. However, after the game, head coach Mike McCarthy did say that Gallimore's injury is considered significant.
I mean, it's going to be, I put it in the category significant, but really till we get all the scans and the full diagnosis, I don't have a timeline.
You talked before he played really well for you in this camp. You liked what he
Oh,
was
yeah, no, absolutely. Neville's, you talk about players taking a second-year jump. I mean, he definitely illustrated that from, you can see it in the spring. So had a great offseason, was having a great camp, just unfortunate.
From Neville to Sean, you had 3 or 4 happen in quick succession. In the course of the game, do you have time to process that? Man, we're kind of going through a rash right here, or is there too much else going on?
No, definitely. I mean, that's especially preseason. I mean, a big part of my focus is, play time for players, trying to make sure we're all on the same page. You want to see different combinations of players. Yes, so, anytime, you have, that many injuries, I mean, obviously it disrupts everything. It's, you feel terrible for the individual, but, that's to me always the priority of preseason games, because if you can practice every day together and playing these games together, your team will improve. And so it's just unfortunate those guys suffered those injuries.
I feel like we're coming along. It's definitely been a process, but we take it day by day and attack each one. And so far, it's going well. We're starting to get a feel for everything, get a feel for the defense, the scheme. We call it system expertise. And we're working on it, and we're building on that. The physicality and the finish, I mean, that's part of what we do and what we believe. So I think we're in a good space right now.
How about you with a little bit different position than what you did before?
The transition's going well. I'm starting to get comfortable, starting to get a feel for it. But yeah, it's definitely going well for me.
You heard Dan, I'm sure, coming out of that first preseason game talking about more takeaways. You had the chance and took it, both forcing it and recovering it. Just detail that play and the broader point of emphasis that it was going into this game.
Yeah, so that was one of the big emphasis for Q going into this game was getting the ball, finding a way to get the ball back. And that's kind of one of the things that I'm about is forced fumbles and getting the ball back for the offense. That's kind of what my career has been about. So having the opportunity to do it, taking advantage of it, and making it happen.
The Cowboys return home to Frisco, Texas after nearly a month out west in Oxnard, California. As the final weeks of training camp start to close in on the Cowboys, which defensive backs have made a push to earn a spot on the final 53-man roster? Barry Church and Isaiah Stanback join me on set to discuss right after this.
Special edition presented by AT&T is brought to you by Ford, built for Texas, built for you. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Salvation Army, doing the most good. And by AT&T. This segment is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Play the new Gym 7 scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery with top prizes up to $977,000. There's a Gym 7 scratch ticket for everyone, so play today.
Welcome back into Special Edition. Danny Sarek, joined now by Isaiah Stanback and Barry Church. Defense was the biggest area of focus for the Cowboys this offseason. 8 defensive draft picks, in addition to a handful of veteran free agency signings. So far, throughout this point of training camp, those improvements on the defense with new defensive coordinator Dan Quinn have been evident through more communication and a whole lot of turnovers. However, there's not room for everyone on this secondary depth chart to make the final 53-man roster, and we are inching closer to those decisions. Here's a look now. You look at all those cornerbacks and the safeties. They've got rookies Nashon Wright, Kelvin Joseph. But then you have a bunch of veterans that have been added to this roster who have had a strong outing so far throughout training camp. Isaiah, which cornerback has caught your eye so far the most?
Yeah, I'm going to go the opposite direction where my guy DC is going to go next. But I'm going to go with the young draft pick Nashon Wright. He is built for this defense. Dan Quinn is the perfect remedy for what he does and what he presents. 6'3", 185 pounds. In the first preseason game against the Steelers, he kind of got baptized by Chase Claypool, but he needed that because he's going to be the cornerback that has a huge presence in man-to-man and cover 3 with his ability to use his long arms to get guys stopped at the line of scrimmage and then be able to trail with those long arms.
Yeah, for me, I'm looking at Maurice Candidate right now. This is a guy who's taken off all last year due to COVID concerns, and he's come back ready to ball. I mean, look, this guy is playing one of the hardest positions in the National Football League, which is that slot corner. You got to guard some of the shiftiest receivers out there, and against the run, you got to feel like an extra linebacker out there. So he's had a phenomenal camp, and what he's done so far is simply thrown his name into the hat for that starting cornerback or that starting nickel position. Now, he has a lot of competition out there with, Jordan Lewis, Nashon Wright, Kelvin Joseph, and Anthony Brown. But so far, I think he's been able to handle his own.
And Kennedy had that phenomenal interception in the SoCal Showdown scrimmage practice with the Rams earlier in training camp. He changed his direction, contorted the top of his body, great awareness. He has really made his name out there and made a case for himself to make the final 53-man roster. The starting safeties, those are not as set as the cornerbacks might seem. Which safety, Isaiah, has made the most of training camp so far?
In terms of the safeties, it's really kind of a toss-up right now. I think we know who our strong safety is going to be, and that's going to be in Donovan Wilson. In terms of our free safety, it's going to be a competition back there between KZ and Hooker. Hooker coming in. He obviously hasn't touched the field yet. But as far as that next guy up that's going to be playing is Israel Mukuamu. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. I was not very impressed by his first preseason game because he has, as a safety, you have to play physical. And he's converting from cornerback out to safety. He has the footwork. He has the hands. He has the eye-hand coordination. But he has to be able to come up and develop a hit. So it's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top. But Israel, I'm taking a look at him tightly.
Yeah, for me, the safety position, I think is pretty safe right now. I think, like Isaiah said, I think Donovan Wilson has that strong safety spot pretty much sewn up from his good end of the season last year into this good camp this year. So I think he has that sewn up. But the free safety position, that's up for grabs right now. You got two veterans in Hooker and KZ who both, when healthy, they can play that position at an elite level. So I'm interested to see how that position battle kind of boils itself down. But overall, I do think this is the deepest the Cowboys have been at the safety position in a very long time.
Quarterback Dak Prescott is nursing a muscle strain in his right arm, his throwing shoulder. How far off is he from getting back on the field without any hindrance? An exclusive one-on-one interview with Cowboys Chief Operating Officer Stephen Jones, who has some insight on Prescott's recovery, next.
This segment was brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Play the new Gems 7 scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery with top prizes up to $977,000. There's a Gem 7 scratch ticket for everyone, so play today. This segment is brought to you by Ford. Built for Texas, built for you.
It's been about 2 weeks since quarterback Dak Prescott suffered a muscle strain in his throwing shoulder. Since then, he's been limited throughout practices as the Cowboys are choosing to be overly cautious to make sure Prescott is ready to go for the season opener. Our Nick Eatman of DallasCowboys.com sat down one-on-one with Cowboys Chief Operating Officer Stephen Jones to get the update on Prescott, presented by Nationwide.
All right, we're here with Stephen Jones here at Oxnard, California, Cowboys Chief Operating Officer, and let's talk about Dak. You've learned a lot more about this injury. It's kind of in a different spot than I guess we've seen before. Where's your comfort level at all with where Dak is and where his availability is going to be?
Very comfortable with exactly the timeline that we're on with Britt and Jim and Dak and what they want to see get accomplished over the next couple of weeks. So we feel really good about him. There's been zero setbacks, if anything. As usual with Dak, he's ahead of schedule. And we think, we're just excited to get him back out there, although you feel his presence, both in the Pittsburgh game as well as the Rams game. You see him out there being the consummate leader that he is for this football team. And I know he's itching to get in there and play some football as well. And I know, as he says, he wants to get to use some of those toys he has out there. When you see CeeDee Lamb making plays, you see Gallup making plays. Obviously, Zeke was moving around in the Rams game. Pollard as well, just ready to get him in the mix.
Let's talk about one of the veterans. What was your decision making in adding Malik Hooker? Where is he injury-wise? What do you think he can bring to the team when healthy?
The biggest thing with him is just getting him in the football shape, giving him the opportunity to have success. Obviously, he's had injuries, so we're being very conservative with him. We want to build him up. Everything that we've seen with him, being around him in the mock games, him understanding, what his role is going to be with this team, has all been plus. So it's just a matter of getting him out there. We hope, after the Arizona game, he'll start to work back in, and we'll see what we have.
You get back from Arizona, obviously you have a game there, but there's a big there'll be a big practice Monday night at the Star, actually, in Frisco at Ford Center there. Talk about the excitement there to get back in Dallas and have the fans there in Texas.
Well, it may be warm and hot there, but at the same time, we're excited to get back to the Star, and certainly to get back there and have our fans there locally be able to come out and hopefully be around our football team, see what we're doing here, see the energy, see the excitement that we have about this team. I think it's going to be a great opportunity for a lot of our fans there in North Texas. So I think we'll have a big crowd. We certainly need more work in terms of the guys that are going to be moving around out there. Hopefully we'll be starting to see guys like Amari Cooper, DeMarcus Lawrence, those guys work into practice. So should be fun for our fans to be able to come out and observe and see what we're doing this year.
All right, looking forward to that, and thank you so much for stopping by. Cowboys Chief Operating Officer Stephen Jones.
Great to be on.
Cowboys night, Monday, August 16th. Fans can come watch a practice live in person at the Star in Frisco as the Cowboys will start to get near the end of training camp here in Frisco. On the other side of the break, Barry and Isaiah will share one player they're eager to see finish out training camp here, who just so happens to be one of the main stars from the first episode of Hard Knocks that aired on HBO earlier this week. More special edition coming your way.
This segment was brought to you by Ford. Built for Texas, built for you. This segment is brought to you by AT&T.
Rookie linebacker Micah Parsons has met the high expectations as the 12th overall draft pick so far throughout his rookie training camp. Parsons has stood out in practices. He had a fumble recovery in the Hall of Fame game, and he's even already getting work as the play caller of the defense. Our Kyle Yeomans has more on Parsons' rookie training camp out from Oxnard, California.
You got to be able to do more than one way to win. Being a versatile player makes it a challenge for anybody to stop it, anybody to scheme up. You'll never want to be a rook where you can only go straight or you can only go sideways. You want to be able to go diagonal, and I think that's what makes the Queen so strong.
Football is often referred to as a game of chess, a back-and-forth mental battle that holds just as much importance in a victory as the coinciding physicality. For rookie linebacker Micah Parsons, training camp has given a first glance into what he can do at the game's highest level and an opportunity to broaden his skill set.
I like to go after the quarterback. I like to make big plays, but at the same time, I like to be encouraged because, you can get a big payoff a pick. You can always find a way to disrupt the game, no matter which one it is. So I kind of like doing it all.
We call those opportunities at the ball. The more confidence that you have in the scheme and in your leverage and where you're at, the more opportunities you're going to get.
Despite playing just 11 snaps in the preseason opener against Pittsburgh, Parsons took full advantage of his one opportunity at the ball. A culmination of what has been an impressive start to his NFL career and proof of how much he and his coaching staff have already learned.
Putting people in different spots is a good thing. Like most players, you're trying to find out what guys do best. And, so by trying different things, that's the only way that you really find out.
Having a chess piece like Parsons gives a defense extra versatility at both the line of scrimmage and in coverage. And while the sky may be the limit for Parsons, now is the time to push those limits both mentally and physically.
You don't know unless you push yourself out on the practice field. You have to make some mistakes. So we encourage the guys in this space, this is where you take your chance. This is where you push yourself to find out what you have.
But I'm also my biggest critic, so, every day I try to come out here and just add on top of it. I know there's things I could get better at.
Reporting for Special Edition, I'm Kyle Yeomans.
Parsons has looked top-notch throughout training camp. In fact, the Cowboys coaching staff is already entrusting him to wear the headset in his helmet so he can listen to play calls from defensive coordinator Dan Quinn throughout the games. Isaiah, how impressive is that he's already wearing the headset and his regular season rookie year hasn't even started yet?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a testament to how good this young man is. I believe we have a stud in the making. I think that he's an absolute star, as everybody can already see the energy that he has on the recent episode of Hard Knocks. He's fast, he's physical, he's versatile. This is exactly what we needed on this side of the ball, and it's going to be amazing to continue to see his development and the impact that he has on his defense.
Look, if this guy can stay healthy, if he can stay healthy for 17 games this year, I think the sky's the limit for him. I mean, look, I know we only had a small sample size of this guy, but he flashes off the tape. He pops off the tape. You can feel his speed sideline to sideline when you're watching him out there. So for me, I look, Danny, Isaiah, I know it's early, but this guy can be special, and I think he could be a big, huge reason why this Dallas Cowboys defense makes a turn in 2021.
If Parsons continues on the same trajectory we've already seen throughout training camp, Barry, how much do you expect that to elevate the rest of the linebacker room?
It's going to have to. If you see a young guy like that going out there, being dominant, being establishing himself in the NFL like that, it's going to force Vander Esch, it's going to force Smith and those guys to step up their game because they don't want to be left in the dust. And I think it's just going to overall make this team better.
Yeah, I believe that his versatility is going to bring a lot to this defense, but ultimately the second level, those linebackers are going to be dependent on the guys in front of them. So their front four has to be effective in order for the rest of these guys to really go out there and show their skills and their abilities.
Parsons was one of the main stars on the first episode of Hard Knocks that aired on HBO earlier this week. He was all over the place, not only on the field, but throughout the episode. Isaiah, what was your favorite part that Parsons was the star throughout the first episode?
Yeah, usually you hear rookies wanting to get off the field, right, because they're tired or, at his camp, and it's those dog days. But you heard everything but that. He was energetic. He was laughing. He was cracking jokes. And more than anything, he wanted to be on the field. He wanted to be with his guys. He wanted to compete. He was begging for playing time instead of begging to come off the field.
Yeah, and for me, my favorite part was when he was sitting there talking to Vander Esch, and he goes, I can make this play, I can make that play. And the wise Vander Esch in his third year goes, you know what, settle down, man. You got to realize that it's a team defense. Not every play is made for you. So we see the young Vander Esch teaching the young Parsons a thing or two about the linebacker thing. I think it was pretty cool.
I like the shot of Parsons in the middle of the Hall of Fame game. They're in the locker room at halftime, and he's eating all of those oranges. He talked about how hungry he gets when he plays. I thought that was pretty fun. Cowboys fans can watch Parsons practice in person Monday, August 16th for Cowboys night here at the Star in Frisco. We'll have more details about how you can watch the Cowboys in person over the next few weeks right after this.
This segment was brought to you by AT&T. Special edition presented by AT&T was brought to you by Ford, built for Texas, built for you. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. AT&T. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full access to coaches' film and game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl. Subscribe at DallasCowboys.com/Game Pass.
The Cowboys are coming home to Frisco, Texas after nearly a month out west in Oxnard, California to finish out training camp. And Cowboys fans, you can get in on the action Monday night, August 16th. Come on out to the Star in Frisco for Cowboys night, presented by American Airlines, the first of 4 practices you can watch in person. Festivities will start at 4 p.m., practice at 6 Monday night. And if you see Isaiah walking around the Star, be sure to wish him a happy birthday. We are now in the second half of training camp as the Cowboys make their return home. Isaiah, what is the mentality shift now for the players as it's almost crunch time to make that final roster?
Yeah, it's kind of two different mindsets. So you have the starters that are going to be preparing for the season, right? You know that Tampa Bay is right on the cusp. They're weeks away. And then for the guys that are kind of on the edge, on the bubble, it's time to ball. It's time to ball. They have 2 preseason games left, and it's time for you to distinguish yourself and make a separation between you and the guys that you're competing against.
Yeah, you hit the nail right on the head right there. As a young guy, you want to come in there, and these last two games, you're going to get the most playing time you've had in a long time, whether it be special teams, whether it be actual playing time on defense and offense. So you got to be laser-like focused on that. And as a veteran, you start to focus on your job and your responsibilities. And you got the Bucs coming around here in a couple weeks, so you're lasered in, focused on what you got to do to help this team win.
That'll do it for us here on Special Edition. For Isaiah Stanback and Barry Church, I'm Danny Surek. Thanks so much for tuning in.